This is Judith for Golden Skate, and I'm very happy that I'm here today with Allison Reed and Saulius Ambrulevicius from Lithuania. Hello.
Hello.
Tell us, how are you doing?
Doing good.
Good.
Slowly getting back into it.
Yeah, you told me before that you're coming directly off the ice. Worlds are not over for 2 weeks, and you're already back going strong, are you?
Trying to,
yeah, no rest. I mean, the next season is, it may seem a long ways away, and then you wake up one morning and it's right there. So I just always want to make sure that we're staying on top of it and as prepared as we can be for the upcoming season, but also making sure we take some downtime, that we rest properly, especially after the season that we had.
Yeah. Yeah. So you have some vacation planned, or you had a week off, or how was it?
but later we still have to have like a meeting set with our coaching is to decide when we can do our vacation time, where we can take a little break, and when we need to like organize a lot of things before we take decisions.
Yeah.
But like we'd like to get a vacation for sure, because like
For sure.
it was an intense season, and a break after it would be nice to start fresh for the next year.
Well, then we start with reflecting on this really amazing season, your most successful one so far. I'd like to start with, how did you find out that Europeans would be in Kaunas, and what was your first reaction?
Well, it was long story short, as we read the news that Hungary had declined their bid for Europeans, and they were looking for a possible replacement. I remember having a call with our federation, and I was telling them, like, asking them if you guys placed a bid, because that would be a good opportunity for us. And they were at first like, I don't know, we kind of, it's close to time, we've never done stuff like this before. And the decision was like, okay, just try to bid it, and if you get it, we'll see what we can do about it. If not. So they did their bid, and we won it. And it was like in the beginning, I think, of May or end of May, that we found out that we're gonna have it. So it was, didn't know what to expect, and it was very exciting to be a part of it, and from knowing from the beginning how the whole European Championships came up, it's very, very impressive.
Yeah, so you were actively involved in the process of and speaking with the federation.
It wasn't like involvement. I was just kind of like passively pressing them, just try it. Like if we don't try, we never know. And it turned out to be the kind of good nudge that it allowed like us as a country and us as people to show that we can make something great, and we can surprise ourselves on the same time. So I think it's a good example for everyone else, is just to try it sometimes. Like then you'll see it's a good step.
And yeah, it was such an amazing event. But maybe before that, would you say your preparation was anyhow special? You trained more hard, or was it the usual?
Usual story, but the pressure was slightly there. We tried to like not to say no, it's there, but it was slightly there.
It was like, we did have a conversation with our coaches when that became a reality for us. They were like, European Championships is in your home. There is a slight responsibility that we have, representing this country, it being, so close to us, especially so close to Saul. And so we kind of geared our season around kind of making sure that Europeans was one of the peak points in our season. And I think we all managed that really, really well. And it was just such an amazing experience. But yeah, it was, we tried to approach it like any other competition, but it was impossible to be like any other competition. Yeah. It was something special.
For sure. And before that, Allison, you started the season a little bit injured, right? I guess.
Yes.
It was a little bit scary.
Yeah. We had started earlier this year, and we felt like we were a little ahead of the game, which was nice to be there. We were already preparing for some provincial competitions here in Montreal and Quebec. And then in one of the simulations that we were doing for that competition at the end of the week, We unfortunately took a bit of a tumble and I dislocated my shoulder, which wasn't fun. But it's something that I had gone through before. It's something that we both went through before. So kind of having gone through it, I think we both were a little bit more like, okay, this needs to happen, this and this and this in order to make the season happen. And with the help of, of our coaches, of my physical therapist, and of course, Saul being really patient with me, we were able to kind of salvage what we had at the time, make some adjustments, but we were ready to go. And I was very, very proud of us for being able to compete in Oberstdorf at the beginning of September, because it was only a month, a little over a month.
Like close to a month.
Yeah, close to a month after dislocating it. So it was definitely a close time frame, but I had the right support and it really made all the difference.
Yeah, and you were already super well in shape for the Grand Prix. Like you set yourself up for these Europeans, kind of. Yeah.
Thank you.
So let's talk a little more about the Europeans. You said it was more pressure. You tried to avoid it, and then this audience was crazy. It was amazing. I think no one expected Lithuania to come up with something like this. Did you expect it at all yourself, or how was your reaction when you saw the full house?
I think if they do a close up of our faces in the when they announce us before our warm up, when they say, representing Lithuania, whatever, that noise, I think we both looked at each other and both of our eyes just got super big. We were like, oh my gosh, this is happening. Like, do you hear this? It was
like you step on the ice, like just to do a warm-up lap before you're about to take place to your starting position. And like you just step and it's like noise, cheers. And I remember myself having like a grin, like a laugh.
Yeah.
It was like, this is great. And then shut up. And then you go into like that mode, which was great to have the support. But like I personally didn't expect, but at the same time, Lithuania is such a like small country. We don't have big things like these events happening often. So when they do, and you have your own athletes coming to it, the support comes as well. They want to like be proud of your own athletes and support them and to be with them, because it's not just 2 people or 4 people skating. They want to make you feel that like you have your backs covered. So it was very fun that they showed up. The organization made sure that we have the support by like having 2 great MCs that were like always getting the crowd rowdy and like getting them involved with us. They had like good support going towards that. So like not only us felt the cheering, but everyone else did. So it was very fun, and actually I'm proud to see that we were very welcoming to other athletes as well.
Do you remember like the last thoughts before your program started, or like the first thoughts when you finished? Because I think no one can really imagine who has not been in a situation like you.
I think there was just a level of focus that we had going into the program that almost we both I think blocked out as much of the noise as we could, as great as it was, and as much as we wanted to use it for fuel, we also didn't want it to let it overcome us or overshadow what we were there to do. But I definitely let it in as soon as we were like ending pose done. Then I was able to accept all of that love, all that support, all that noise. But definitely going into each starting pose or into the program itself, there was definitely a moment of just kind of tunnel vision slightly, just to make sure that we were focused on what we came there to do, which was to perform.
Always the first few seconds when there's like quiet and you just stand for the pose and wait for the first beat, those are the worst seconds in your life, because like you're waiting, your legs are shaking, you're like kind of like trying to control your nerves and like anxiousness, and you're trying to like stay composed because you haven't even started. So like that is the hardest part. But once you get into it, the first few beats are the first element. It's as Allison mentioned, it's a tunnel vision, and you go into it like just being in the zone. Your focus is to your things that you do. The focus is to your partner, and the focus is to like the performance that you're trying to put on. It's all about the feeling, and it was a lot of battles happening before that.
Yeah.
And then you held it together and you got it done. Like, yeah, how were the emotions then? And maybe after you found out you got that medal.
Well, yeah, I mean, if there's a video.
I know. It says it all.
It says it all. It was,
Yeah.
I was expecting it to be close, and after the short, we kind of like had a smaller gap between other teams, but you never know. The sport is sport. You can still have things happen. So like, I was just happy that we skated the best that we could at that time, and when we saw the scores, I was like, yes. It was great.
It was definitely a feeling like after we were done with the free, it's one of those like you knew you did everything that you possibly could have done together out there. It was like I knew neither of us had left anything undone. And so feeling so accomplished in that moment, and having the crowd so loud, we couldn't even hear the final note of our music. Like I didn't even know when it was going to be because I couldn't hear anything. And but just allowing that to be like, oh my gosh, I think we did it. Like I'm gonna be hopeful and not, overstep, but like when we hit them, I was like, I think we did this.
And I think everyone in this building was so happy for you. So yeah, as you can see, we had to have a little location change, but we're back. And yeah, after Europeans, maybe you can tell a little bit, how was the reception afterwards from the media, from the people in Lithuania?
Well, reception was like this, that we were both not expecting it to be this big. Allison we planned like our time off a little bit at that time. So like Allison wanted to visit her family. She hasn't seen them for a while, so she stayed an extra day in Lithuania and then flew back. And I stayed with my girlfriend to stay at my family's place because it's my hometown. So it was like, okay, we'll spend a week to have a relaxing time. It didn't work out at all like that. It was from like day one, the phone started to like nonstop ring. People wanted to come, to invite us to come to do a meeting with them. Like our mayor wanted to award Lithuanian skaters for their performance. So it started, and like Allison left, and then suddenly everything started to like pile up. I think I had like 2-3 meetings a day. We had a meeting with our mayor, the whole Lithuanian skating federation came there. Like they awarded us for like our bronze medal, and then it was just the reception from like even the politicians. They were very happy for our performance. It kind of made like to a point like the country like united. It was like so big, like a lot of people watched it on the TV. It was like our country has like overall 2.7 million people, and like over 500,000 people were watching figure skating at the day, where before figure skating was not that big at all. It's like basketball or basically anything else. Like, and then like it's like that. So I was like very, very surprised, and it was very impressive. Yeah, so it was quite busy to a point where I was like, okay, I need a Saturday like to like chill. So you had to like start to filter things, which ones you want to do, which ones you don't want to do, and what is like for your own health, because it was just like constant work.
Safe to say, yeah, it was a little overwhelming, not gonna lie. We were very, very surprised with the outpouring, and silly me, I thought one day was enough to get all of our media stuff done, if there was any to begin with. And so when I left and he started getting invited to all of these things, and I was like, oh, why did I leave? I was like, I should have just asked the plane to turn around. So I was very, very sad, very disappointed that I couldn't be there with Saul to experience all these things. But I knew how important they were and how amazing it was for us to get that recognition, but also for figure skating, for ice dance to get that notoriety in Lithuania. It was really, really great to see young kids be so interested in the sport and to get involved. We had so many young volunteers that were also skaters that some of them we knew from the rinks around and stuff. So it was very, very cool to have so many young people involved and so many people watching. It really meant a lot.
It's so nice to have such a figure skating wave in Lithuania.
Yeah.
So how difficult was it then to prepare for Worlds? Because there was still this big event coming up.
Yes, it was hard.
Probably the most difficult preparation ever. Because it was to come up from that high and then have a big break, because Europeans were so early this year, and to have this kind of break, you of course can't maintain the high level of preparation because your body will not cope with it. So like coming off that high to come back and rebuild the shape and like get back into the performance mode was very mentally and physically tough. So the coaches did make sure that everyone was working and preparing. So like not only us felt it, but the whole team. But for us, it was, I think it was kind of a tough period, because you'd want to finish on a high note, and this is like another home competition, not fully home but still home, and you have like certain wants personally that you want to achieve, and the focus was there. So like in order to do that as a high achieving people, we wanted to like push it to the max. So like it was tough. It was tough.
It was very, very tough, but I think what really helped in the long run was the fact that like we weren't the only ones going through a very tough push to that final competition. So to have the others in our school that we were competing with at Worlds, that were all going to Worlds together, it was like a sense of this, like, we can do this, we got this. Like the support on the ice during run-throughs was major, especially because you just felt like you were dying on some practices. And so it was just very, very helpful to have the others, our peers, our teammates to help support. And the coaches were pushing us when we needed to be pushed and giving us the rest when we needed it. But it was a balance of a lot of things.
It's a lot of mental, like, it's a big mental game, because at that point you feel destroyed. You feel that you can't do anything, but like it's what you feel, and you imagine that like this is the end of the world, that you start to get like very negative and all this. But actually having the support that you have with like fellow athletes and your coaching teams, and actually it's proving that like mind plays tricks on you and you actually look better than you think. So like having that kind of constant like bright side in your corner, it's always helping you to like go through things easier. And we were very lucky to be a part of this kind of environment, and are surrounded with these kind of athletes. It's very, very helpful.
And then you finished at 6th place and had another strong competition. I guess that was then very meaningful for you again as well.
A dream season, honestly, a dream.
Yeah, so a dream, but the dream had to end at some point, and now is the off season, and we hope, of course, you take the time off as you need. But of course, next new programs, new goals, new season, it will come faster than we all think. So maybe let's start with this. Like now, when you achieved so much, what is the next things you want to achieve? Do you have the time to think about that already?
I think with every approach to every season, we're always trying to make mini goals to improve in all aspects of our skating. And for next season, it's just like making sure that we're constantly taking things to the next level where we can. How can choreographically, how can we make things more interesting, more complex? Technically, how can we make our turns better? How do we make our skating skills better? It's all these little things that the off season is meant for. It's really meant to work on skating skills, working on being a bit more intricate and different. And we always really try to do that going into every season. How can we make things different? How can we portray ourselves, our strengths, and how can we raise our weaknesses but still bring something different to the table? And it is a collaboration. it's talking with the coaches about the direction that they see for us, what we want for ourselves, but also what they want to see in us, you know, moving forward. And so it's a lot of talk, and then kind of hunkering down into those goals, like those set goals. And then the next few months is really just hard work. You think you put the work in during the season, but a lot of it is done in the summer.
Yeah, especially like being as a team that like we're already older. We're at that era, and it's kind of like you want to personally show that you're not as a team that okay, we're veterans and like we're gonna coast now. You want to always show that actually you can still push and improve. And as a matter of fact, the biggest example still is Diana Stellato right now. Like she 40 years old and like winning like world championships, and I don't know what better of an example she can be for people that think that you're done. And I'm happy that there are people like sticking around for like this long, especially like not only in pairs it's hard. And so like that means that like in ice dance you can do that too. In singles you can still do. It's just like a different kind of science of sport. So for us in the beginning of the season, especially like starting to like prepare for it, you want to polish yourself and improve as much as you can to keep yourself climbing up higher and not being stagnant. That's a big goal, at least for us going into it.
One of your strengths that I would say is that you're such good storytellers on the ice. And I think all your last free dances, they had like a story behind. Do you think this is something important for you, or is it the direction you want to keep going in?
100%. I think it's important to us.
Yeah.
I think it gives us a way of expressing not only the music, but also who we are as people and as athletes. And also to be able to tell a story that brings people in or gets people talking, it gets them more involved in your performance as well. But it was something I think we started to work on when we came to IM. Like we did it briefly before, but it became more of a thing with Marie-France and with Sam Chenard when we started choreography. We're like, okay, what message are we trying to send? What do we want to feel in this part, in this piece, in this transition? And kind of giving those storylines to the program just made it fuller, and it made it more exciting to perform and to train every day. This is something you do every single day, and so you're wanting to make sure that whatever it is, you're 100% committed and know what you're doing and knowing what you're wanting to express. And so I think story is a really big thing for us when it comes to our free dance music choices
of music, and also it's a push. It's like it's part of trying to tell a story not with words. You're trying to tell it with your body movement, and the body movement is like what we're trying to learn every day. So you're discovering ways how to like portray the dance through a storyline that music is telling you, and and it's hard. And I'm happy that you say that is becoming our strength, because like every single year you feel that like, oh, I don't know how to express this better, and like so you get help, you get specialists. We have like a couple of coaches that like one of them is an actor, the other one like went through that as well. So like we go through that, and it makes it clearer for us as performers to express things. You connect with a thing differently rather than just portray a love story. Cool, a love story can go different ways. It's so many layers of it that you don't know. So that analyzing comes like again off season, and during season you just clarify and enhance it. So yeah, it's big work.
Yeah, I mean, now we're going forward to the next free dance, but quickly on the last one, it was about digitalization as a big topic. How do you feel this, or like, how do you feel yourself about it? How does digitalization influence your lives, and what are maybe the issues with this, and why you chose to portray it in a free dance?
I think it was more it was personal because it's what everyone is going through. There are times where I catch myself, I'll be sitting on the couch and I'll be with my significant other or my family or whatever, and we're all on our phones not talking, and it's kind of like, what are we doing? Like we're here in person and we're here together, and yet we are not connecting in ways that we used to before. And so it was an interesting topic to portray on the ice, is like this connection through dance, through movement, through touch, through look. And I feel like we've lost that because we're all kind of hiding behind who we want to be perceived as on social media, who we want people to think we are. And it's like, when did we lose showing yourself fully in person to someone, rather than trying to be someone you're not? And so I felt like it was very personal to me and personal to the people that get to watch our performances. And for those that reached out, a couple people wrote me. They were like, I felt this watching you. I understood this, and it made me cry. It made me this. And I'm like, those people, the ones that we touch, that is like why we do this, to express those things, to make people feel things, think about things in their life. It's like, it's interesting that a 4-minute piece could make someone.
But you know what, like that's like also gives an opportunity for this to be portrayed differently. Is a lot of people like you read online, you read the responses to like, and some people like, I don't get it. Well, that's the point. It's like you either get it or not. But like, if you get it and it touches you a different way, it makes you like think that like, okay, there's something actually there's some kind of like issue that we need to see and think through. Because honestly, life on social media and like on your telephones, on your like internet, like life mostly sucks. There's so many negative things on it, and like, oh well, that's the thing, like get out of it and like see what's going on in real life with real people, discover the connection between the person, and like you might actually find some happiness rather than just like, you know, go and bash people or try to, as Allison mentioned, pretend someone that you're not. So like it's a lot of food for thought. And like, I remember when she brought the music in, we were playing on like with music choices, which one way to go, and like she played that song and it was like, oh, this is actually cool. And then we listened to the lyrics more, we listened to like the storyline as the composition is, and we're like, this is very like relatable to us, especially this day and age. So we tried our best to like replicate it and like express it through those nuances. And we're very happy that like some people did like understand it and see it and connect it to it. So we're doing some kind of justice to it.
Give some awareness also, maybe. It was a great theme and very, very up to date.
Thank you.
So you have any ideas? I mean, of course, we don't expect you to reveal anything, but you have already ideas for next season? Or some direction.
But you know us, like it's something that we strive to do every year, is to kind of find a piece of music that people have not skated to. And in that sense, it becomes very difficult. There's songs that people skate to often. It's because they're great songs and they're easy to skate to. And so finding tracks, finding pieces of music that we can tell a story to, that we connect to, and also that people haven't skated to, is a tall order sometimes. And so finding that right piece, we're still looking, but we have some ideas, and we hope it can make just as big an impact.
Time. Like it's a lot of patience and time. Like some songs I remember, like we already like almost have it done, we have a pre-cut, we already like starting, and then like, no, it doesn't work. And then you try to like scrap everything and try to find something new. So like it's to do something that is not haven't been done before, and try to experiment with it. It's always a hard thing.
Trial and error.
You know, like sometimes you hit, sometimes you miss. And especially I think in ice dance, what you have the opportunity these days is to like think outside the box and try to bring something new. That's like music choices, ideas, how to dance. Like if you take like 10 years ago how ice dance was looking, you take it now, it's like dramatic shift. And for me coming into ice dance, like for, you know, like later in the stage of my skating career, but as basically as a newbie, like I can look into ice dance through a different perspective. So I'm like, why not? What if we try this?
Yeah.
And like last year's program, for example, it was like, oh, that'd be so cool. And it was hard to convince this person that it's going to be good. But like, you know, I did a cut. Then Marie-France was like, oh, I dig it. Let's do it. And we started to go this way. And like, it was towards the point where it was like, as a constant party. I enjoyed it.
No, the Guns N' Roses, he brought this in because I was kind of leaning more towards Billy Idol, something kind of chill and kind of cool. And then he was like, Guns N' Roses, let's go. And I was like, oh my gosh.
But at the end, you were the one convinced. Like you were both convinced. But I remember you were like, "Oh my god, I love this program so much."
I know. And then it became one of my favorite programs of all time. So it's just kind of sometimes you need that little push, the trust, and that's a big thing. Sometimes, especially even our free dance last year, our Insomnia program, he brought in this music, and I was like, "Oh my gosh, I don't know if that's gonna work at all," and very very skeptical. But as we started to build that program, I was like, okay, this is going to be cool. This is different. This is cool. And so trusting the process, but also trusting your partner's idea when they bring things to the table that are definitely outside of the box that you may not exactly be comfortable with at the start, but the trust and it's paid off in tenfold with several of our programs. So
like Guns N' Roses, for example, this year was not like, it's fun to go that way that you feel comfortable, but also like it's the way that you see the program in advance is you have the vision in your head that it could work, and then like you got to try to like tell it and express it to your partner and to your coaches. Because like it was a challenge to like show that with coaches that like this is gonna work as well. But like as soon as we started to mess around with like a Sam on the floor, and then like we started to move some things on the music to like, okay, this is gonna be. So it was fun. This is the fun part of the season.
That's true.
This is great that you're so next rhythm dance themes 50s to 70s. What do we think of that, and what do you associate maybe with these centuries and decades?
Associate maybe not, but kind of in the 60s 70s there's songs that I do know, songs that my parents were grew up with and stuff, so it's definitely a different era, but originally they had given us a decade originally, and so I was looking in the 90s. I think a lot of people were looking in the 90s at the time, and then they were like nope, and they were like scrap that. But I think it does give teams the opportunity to skate to a wide range of different styles, because these three eras were very very different styles, and so I think it might offer some variety in the choices of music, and more so than it did this season, because like everyone was in 80s only, but like giving us that variety, it might bring some more excitement to the event. But I
love this part of the possibility to educate yourself.
That's true.
Because you're gonna discover 3 new decades that you never explored that deep as an individual, and it's gonna take time in order to like get something in your understanding like what it was at that decade. But there's so many choices that you can choose from and just explore, and I hope it's going to bring more variety for different teams and different performers. So it's going to be an interesting year. The challenge is set. So
right. We'll see what you come up with. So like to end up this interview like a little bit off the ice. Well, of course, the big elephant in the room first, the Lithuanian citizenship. Is there any news you can give up on that, or how will you proceed?
Not yet. No other news yet. I think we had spoken before. We did resubmit my application for citizenship back in February. We are still waiting for a response, and we're hoping maybe by June we might hear something that is what we're looking for.
Hopefully.
Until then, it's just fingers crossed, and we're just hunkering down, working on the things that we can control, which is our skating, which is our next season. So, but until then, just staying very hopeful, but focusing on the work that needs to be done.
So like to a little bit more fun things. Saulius, you are a phenomenal photographer of the ice.
Oh.
I'm impressed, and I think so many people are impressed by your work. How did you develop these skills? Since when are you into it? And do you plan to maybe do it as a future career?
Don't know about future career. It's just something that like it's another outlet. Thank you. For I don't know. It's just a creative. I like seeing things and creating things, and as a possibility to show the world the way that you see it, and the way that you see that frames that you capture in the life moments, and you have the ability to like save it. So I don't know. Like I always thought, for example, with like we travel, we see so many different beautiful places. So like, okay, I'll start like, yeah, I want to actually take moments of them so I can cherish them later. So like I started to just enjoy it more and more. Like I bought my camera, like first one 2000 and I don't know, was it 17, 18?
Yeah, I think so, yeah.
And I started to fiddle with it and just started to like learn things more and more, and then like started to understand which way I like to go, what I want to do, how I want to take pictures. And then when we were in Germany, tried to like with first few skaters with Nicole Schott and with Lukas Brički, tried to like see how it goes on the ice, and it came out that it was like, okay, that's actually not bad. And then came here and then had some more ideas that I wanted to explore. And then when we have some time and possibilities to do it, I just took friends that are skaters and like, let's do it. And it's something that like I enjoy doing it, and we'll see how it goes. It's something that you can do for a long time, I think.
For sure.
Yeah,
Do you have any photo shoots planned up with your teammates? Can we expect
I
something?
really wanted to do one with Maddie and Evan. The problem is that they're busy people, and we've been busy more than usual this year. So like to find a time frame where you can do that, it's very hard. So like nothing right now is set, but like as we get our things figured out with like the season, and we have some like structure in our work, you can like then fit some things more with what you can do. And I'm not gonna promise when and what, but like maybe in someday like I'll do something more and get the creative juices going on that side.
Allison, in your ISU bio, I read as first hobby roller coaster rides.
I have asked to change that multiple times, by the way.
Funny.
It has not happened. And so I'm just like, all right, it's fine. That's gonna be how it's going to be.
I'm still 168, by the way, and so I haven't been this height since I was 15 probably. So they need to do some work on that, okay?
Okay, all right, but I guess you enjoy roller coasters, but maybe there's more hobbies that you're
Yes. No, I love going to theme parks. I hope this summer that we could go. There's one out in Toronto that Tim Deek, he was very excited to go, and I was like, yes, let's go this summer. When I lived in New Jersey, when I was training with my former partner, we had to skate on the weekends on a Saturday. So we'd go in at like 6 a.m., 7:30, 7 a.m., skate an hour and a half, 2 hours. And then we'd pack our stuff and we would go to Six Flags. We'd go to a roller coaster theme park after practice every weekend. And it was just something that I think I started to really enjoy with my family. It was something that my dad took my siblings and us to do when we were younger. It was like our thing with our dad to do. And when we were very, very young, it was a whole family, my mom and everything. But as we got older, it was something that my dad took us to. And then when Kathy and Chris moved away, it was something that my dad and I did. So it does stem from that. And also I love the adrenaline. I love the thrill. I think being an athlete, we look for that adrenaline rush where we can find it. And that for me happens to be at theme parks. So
being thrown around without the control. I don't know.
You're not allowed to hold on to the safety bar, hands up always. So that kind of thing.
So if you said you want to edit it though, what would you edit it for? What would you write down right now?
I'm not sure, but like there's I would definitely put in that I want to start horseback riding again. That has been a hobby of mine that I have kind of put on the back burner, and just for safety reasons, if I fall off my horse and I can't go to practice, that's not like great. But it's definitely something that I want to entertain again. I like editing music. I work with my sister a lot and edit music for her, and I still enjoy late night pizza, but maybe the world does not need to know that fact about myself. But I don't know. I change it a little bit to those kinds of things. Sure.
Nice. Yeah, you just mentioned your sister, and I mean, both of your siblings, I think, are huge inspirations for you. Maybe talk a little bit about that, how both of them inspire you.
Oh, I mean, Chris, to this day, always watching over us, probably our number one supporter. You know, I love him so much, and I know how proud he would be of both of us. He saw how we started. He was there in the rink with us training when we first started together. So I think he's kind of been there every step of the way. And so I know 100% that he is, you know, always supportive of what we do.
He even came to Oberstdorf.
He did come to Oberstdorf. Yeah, he was in Austria at the time, and then took the drive out to Oberstdorf to come visit us for a couple of days, and we worked with him on the ice, and it was so great. So very happy that we had that moment together. It meant a lot. And with my sister, I'm just so proud of her. She has done such amazing things in Japan on her own, moving out there by herself, learning the language, learning how to live in a completely different country, different society, different culture, and being so successful. I am just incredibly proud of her and the team that she has put together this past season. They have made leaps and bounds. I am so impressed.
That's the team to look for.
Yeah, they're a team to look out for. So really looking forward to what she brings to the table with her teams moving forward, and just very proud.
As a very last question, how do you see your future? Maybe we of course hope you will continue for many years to come, but you have any things you already have in mind? What do you want to do after your career, or any goals, any dreams you have for your life you want to share?
Oh, like post
yeah.
career?
SpaceX astronaut. No, like honestly, skating I think is gonna be a big part of my life, and
yes,
we do. So like, I want to continue with coaching and explore a world of that. I've been coaching before, but like as being a full-time athlete, you can't do that. But it's just I came from a world that like we didn't have much of figure skating knowledge in Lithuania at that time, and knowing what I had to experience and what to go through in order to like come to the level that we are right now. It's a journey, and you want to help other people to avoid a couple of things, and you want to just share the knowledge that you acquired throughout these years. And also like seeing people like succeed. It's a very joyful and kind of pleasing thing to see and be witness, and knowing that you had like a little like touch on this and that is always, it gives itself like this kind of proudful moment. And doesn't matter if it's even like your competitive teams that like support. Like I always enjoy watching people get rewarded and successful for what they do and what kind of work they put into. So like that is going to be a big part, I think, of what I want to do after photography. I don't know. We'll see. But there's different hobbies. You never know. Life is a candy. You need to unwrap it and see it for yourself.
Yeah,
it changes so unexpectedly.
All right.
Oh, for sure. And like Saul said, I think skating will always be such a big part of my life, but I think I don't quite have the coaching bug that Saul has, or that my sister and my brother had. I still want to be involved, but there's also other things that I want to explore. I would like to go back to school, and also I love animals. I love working with animals. I'm pretty much like the resident dog sitter of IM. Everyone will just be like, "Are you free? Can you take care of my dog for a week?" And I really enjoy it. And so I've always really loved animals. So I was thinking maybe in a direction where I could study to be a veterinary technician, or just work in a vet hospital or something like that. Just working with animals would be an amazing experience for me, and an avenue that's very different from the life I've led so far, and something I want to explore. But skating will always be there. That's part of my DNA at this point. It's not possible to leave. So, but I want to try other things as well. So we'll see.
Awesome. Thank you both so much. It was so interesting.
Thank you.
We wish you a wonderful off season, and we'll see you next season. Thank you.
See you next season. Take care.
Bye.